Yo everyone, JC here. I'm gonna do this video update because I feel like sometimes it's easier to just go on camera and talk about something rather than, writing a post that people may or may not read anyway. It's the same with video though, really. I mean, people might not watch this or whatever. But anyway, I just think it's easier to convey ideas when you have like emotions and, I can use my hands and stuff like that. Today, I want to talk about toxic individuals. I think we have to understand first what it means, really, because I think if you are in the States, uh, mostly it means like somebody on the right, probably like a very religious person, and etc. etc. But for example, in Japan, it would not be like that. It would be something like probably an ultra nationalist, racist person. Whereas in the states they also do exist for sure. These people and they are also toxic. But I think definitely like the religion part in Japan is not important whatsoever. So definitely from that aspect alone, I would say yeah they're not very toxic. But yeah, so that's the first very important distinction to make. It depends like who you're talking about, because toxicity in the states would be different from toxicity in Russia or in Japan or Italy or whatever, right? So that's already very important to establish. Now, in my case, a lot of the times when well, first of all, I have a big problem communicating with people these days. It seems that you know it's interesting because some people say, well, the internet is to blame because it basically has rotten people's brain, and I agree to a certain extent with that statement. But then they proceed and fall into that trap. So it feels like they ran away. They try to run away from certain situations that they run away so far that now they have convinced themselves that that little safe space that they designed for themselves is the only correct space, and everybody else is basically wrong. And I have absolutely no interest to talk to these type of people because basically, okay, I'll give you an example, like an easy example. Okay, let's say we're talking about music and the question is, okay, what's your favorite like artist, what's your favorite music? In my case, I have a really hard time answering that question actually, because I don't really have a favorite artist or favorite album or anything like that. If you look at my playlist, it's basically like just one track by a certain artist and then the next track is by a completely different artist, and it just goes on and on. It's like about 150 tracks or so by completely different artists. Just I pick and choose. Like I don't follow per se certain performers or something like that. So that would be my answer. And you can say, well, that's pretty vague and ambiguous. Okay, fine. But I think I'm not trying to convince you, though, that, okay, you should listen to that music and this music is the only acceptable music you should listen to. So that's definitely not what I do. But what they do, though, is they say, oh, well, I listen to, let's say, Jimi Hendrix, and I think Jimi Hendrix is the best because I say so. And basically, then what they expect to hear is that I should agree with their opinion. And then it becomes basically just ego stroking. That's all they want. And it's again, it's funny because these people, they complain about the cult of self of Instagram and TikTok, etc. And yet they are absolutely indulging in the cult of self just without the Instagram and the TikTok, perhaps. But definitely they live in their own kind of bubble. And, their bubble is the only correct bubble. And everybody else just basically fuck you kind of thing. And I have absolutely nothing to say to these people. I don't want to communicate with them. And coming back to toxicity, In that case, yeah, I actually think they are absolutely toxic individuals, and that's the thing. Like some of those people realize that, but they don't care. But the worst is when those people don't even realize it, and they, say these type of things, and basically whatever they say is the law of the land. Everything they say is correct. You have to agree with them all the time, and yeah, I actually wrote a post about it. So let me just quote a few bits from there. Yeah, basically these are the type of people who have an answer for everything. Usually, if you come across these type of people, then just run away because it doesn't, like, they're not interested in debating or sharing their opinion or anything like that, or they're not interested in your opinion because in their mind everything is already decided. So it doesn't matter what you say to them. It will not change their mind. It will not open their mind. Nothing. It's just a waste of time. So yeah, um, I don't know. That's obviously my view. Like I said, I have a big problem communicating with people. Like I'm trying to, meet more friends, etc. But it's just not happening for these reasons. But there are other reasons as well. But definitely like this type of thing issue. For me, it's important. Maybe for other people, it's not important. I don't know. But for me, it's important. So yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think and if how you define toxicity, because that's important. Like every time we start a conversation about something, it's always important to define the terms first. I think I hope I did that in my intro, but I don't claim to be some, I don't claim this is the ultimate truth. I'm just saying, okay, this I just thought about it for a few minutes, and this is what I came up with. Obviously, my position may change 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later or whatever, or if I again engage with other people and we exchange opinions, and then I might change my view a little bit. So again, yeah, let me know how you define toxicity and whether you have in fact engaged with certain people like I described, and what do you do in that kind of situation? Do you just say, oh well, all right, screw that guy, I'm just going to move on to the next person, or do you continue to try to engage that person because maybe you see some benefit in there? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you think, and that's it for this video.